Okay, welcome to my studio this morning, and never mind the background and all that. Um, I try to put a clear demarcation between patriotism and reality, but uh, if you are an enthusiast, if you are dedicated to a cause, you are most likely going to be a patriot. And this is what's wrong with Nigerian football, that patriotism, which ought to be the best as a Nigerian, that should mean that we should support our own. Uh, it's no longer feasible regarding Nigerian football. I cannot remain hopeful and patriotic supporting the Super Eagles when I use my own resources to buy fuel to watch the match, recharge GoTV or DSTV, or get data to live stream the matches, all for no reward. My only reward ought to be enjoying myself. We don't have to win all the time, but enjoying myself with good uh with a good display by the boys, but it's not coming. And then you have to wonder about those whose pockets are lined and filled, both legally and illegally, around our football. We have the NFF, we have the Minister of Sport, we have agents to the players, we have agents to the coach, we have NFF agents and scouts, and all that. These people earn, whether rightly or wrongly, around our football, around the Super Eagles, around the Super Falcons. So there are people who earn whether the team dies or the team is lively, and there are those of us who lose whether the team wins or not. How? We use our hard-earned resources to follow the team, to watch the team. We are not paid for it. So we lose. We lose from our pockets, whether the team wins or not. So we have to tell ourselves the truth. And you see, some weeks back on Facebook, I say that those who are applauding the call of the insurance keeper and Mas Obasogie were just repeating the same cycle. And Mas Obasogie was not going to play. I predicted that, and it came to be. The Super Eagles handlers, both the coach now, the NFF, perhaps Minister of Sports, they only succeeded in getting Insurance Football Club to be weakened by the absence of Omas Obasogie. As far as the Super Eagles is concerned, Amas was never going to play. And I use this video to predict that Amas will not go to the AFCON. The AFCON is fixed already to have Uzoho as our number one. The only offset that can happen is if Maduka Okoye somehow begins to play, have one, two, three good games, which his marketers can use on social media to market him again. And what we'll have is Maduka Okoye in number one as the goalkeeper, number one, at the AFCON. But to think Uzoho and Maduka Okoye will not go to the AFCON right now, I believe it's too late. They are sure to be there. Not because they merit it, no. Uzoho will always commit a blunder in the next game, same as Maduka. They are sure to commit costly errors that will lead to us not winning or struggling to win. But they are sure for the AFCON. And I tell you this, if you have been following the Super Eagles, you will discover that largely we are just recycling the same players. Largely, the things we read about the Super Eagles repeat. Due to the failure of the coach in the last two games, what have we heard? That the NFF cannot sack the coach because of the amounts they have to pay for severing ties with the coach if the contract is still running as it were. We heard the same story regarding Jonathan, that we'll be having to pay some amount, almost a billionaire or thereabout, if we sack Janet Law. I remember in the WhatsApp group, I said, look, whether real or not, paying the money, if it was real now, paying the money would not be a problem for the NFF. The issue is that such news are coming so that those who currently gain will continue to gain. Now, General was later sacked. We read that General was going to FIFA to sue for his payment. And I remember telling some friends that, well, it might be true. I do not have a background information because I'm not in the NFF. But I believe that nothing like that was going to happen about paying damages or what there's an official name for it anyway. Um, and based on the clause in the contract. Now, we've still not heard that the NFF has paid Roa, but Roa has been sacked over 2 years now, I think, or or close to 2 years now. So what has happened? Nothing. So the issue of sacking Pesero being impossible due to a certain amount in his contract, the clause, I'm telling you, it's just a repeat of the fight by those gaining from the general era, who may or may not be gaining now. But what is established is that there are still people gaining from the contractual agreements of Jose Pesero. I mean, somebody referred him. Forget the talk about Jose Mourinho. That's not true. Someone brought him to the NFF. There were middlemen, there were agents involved, so they are always on the contract with only 1 or 2 persons. There are scouts who work with Jose Pesero, who have his ears, who talk to him, who have the freedom to also tell him, hey, this player is good for the Super Eagles and all that. So there are people, whether we like it, whether it's legal or illegal, that's not what I'm talking about. But there are people really gaining from every opportunity. Jose Pesero, as our head coach, there are people gaining from him. These people, they will fight. These people, they also have friends in the media. They will fight for them too. So let's forget about the news we read. We can sack Jose Pesero. Forget the contract. I'll tell you, when the NFF or whoever, whether it's a minister as we have heard now, when they were appointing Jose Pesero, they had lawyers. They knew what they could pay or not. So forget the payment. They can sack Pesero. If we lose all our qualifying games, the same NFF will sack Pesero. So I don't know if the NFF official that said that really spoke on behalf of the NFF, or he was speaking on behalf of those who stand to gain in the current dispensation of Jose Pesero. You see, you need to have a review of the timeline of what the journalists write, of what some NFL people say, to understand my point. The things they tell us today, they've always said. That's just it. So forget about not sacking Pesero. When it is time to sack him, they will sack Pesero. Those who are unhappy that Pesero has been sacked will also go and pay some journalists to publish that Pesero is going to the FIFA court. And they will not tell you FIFA has ordered us to pay damages, or to pay whatever clause they have written, and you will never hear anything from it. That's their last fight. They did same when General was sacked. The issue of Pesero also applying to whether the vacant position at Zamalek or whatever. Indeed, I tell you, it's just a repetition of what happened before. Remember, when it was being discussed or being touted that General should be sacked, we were told that General had applied for a position elsewhere, or there was a country, I can't recall now, that was on the verge of appointing General. Those were made so that people can say, well, General at that time had suitors. It is the same thing. Nigerians are starting to say, let's sack Jose Pesero. And those gaining under Jose Pesero are now fighting back and wanting you to know that, one, you can't sack him because of a certain clause in his contract, and which we also read in the time of General. And the same people are coming to tell you that Jose Pesero had applied for a position in Zamalek, trying to let you know that the man is not begging for the Super Eagles job. I'm telling you, these are wild stories and nothing like that. Nothing like that. Those who gain in the current dispensation are trying to keep things they trying to maintain the status quo and all that. Forget about those things. It is not everything we read, whether someone really said so or not. I'm telling you, they are not important. Okay. So going forward, what's wrong with Nigerian football? Um, the major thing wrong with Nigerian football is leadership, not even from the NFF now. I'm telling you sincerely, if I am the president of this country, I can actually decide what happens in the NFF. Now, you may be talking about FIFA ban, and I will let you know that there is nothing that you cannot gain politically if you play the right card. Yes, when Russia invaded Ukraine, we saw the reactions of the West. Israel, forget the story of the October 7 attack by Hamas. I'm not supporting that attack now. Of course, it was terrorism because you just didn't attack soldiers, you attacked civilians in a festival. But Israel has been committing calculated genocide on the Palestinians before now and seized the chance to commit a full-blown genocide on the Palestinians after that attack. How has the West reacted? Nothing. They've been docile. They've been sleeping and quiet because Israel plays the global politics. Look, if the president of Nigeria tables the corruption in Nigerian football before the FIFA president, meeting one-on-one and says, look, I just want to sanitize my country's football. It doesn't have to happen over one meeting. The other meetings could be sent to a minister of sports and a presidential advisor on sports to FIFA. Look, after 2-3 meetings, FIFA will surely, it's just about rapport, they will surely allow you some powers to take some decisions. And when you take these decisions and the NFF goes running back to FIFA, they will discover that FIFA is making itself dumb based on agreements they've reached. We need to sanitize the NFF. We need to reduce the power of the NFF. Yes, we need to sanitize the middlemen. Sometimes we condemn the NFF. The NFF officials might just be on their own when these middlemen will come. Hey, I'm the agent to so and so player. He's good. He would like to play with Super Eagles, and discussion starts. It's not about bribery now, but by the time I say thank you, sir, for your audience, take $2,000. It's just for giving me an audience. Where we have started. So there are a lot of things we need to start thinking outside the box, the things that happen, even in how the coach is being employed. How is the coach employed? Who referred the coach to NFF? Who were the middlemen that contacted the coach? What is in it for them? When the coach comes, is the coach picking his own scout or the NFF are appointing a scout for the coach? Who monitors these scouts? Who monitors those that the scouts are reporting to? Do we have an ethics department? If yes, who is monitoring the ethics department? There are a lot of things that are wrong in the Super Eagles. When we begin to tackle these things and are raising, we'll have some check and balances. I remember when Sunday Olise was our coach, he wanted to create something like a selection ethic. Like, if you are so and so age, you can't be here. If you are so and so age, we may consider you if you are here. And a lot of people kicked against it. And I laughed and said, well, unfortunately, Olise's tenure didn't end well. Perhaps it was sabotaged by the same players who are contracted to agents that were not happy with what Sunday Olise was trying to bring to effect. That is a code of conduct for selection. This agent may have spoken to the players, and sabotage is easy. They have nothing to lose. Our players are called and paid to win or paid to lose. So they really don't have anything to lose, the way we the fans feel it, they go back to their clubs. I mean, for 80% of the football calendar year, these players are with their club side. So let's not think that the players are coming here to die for us. So there may have been an intentional sabotage of the Sondolise era. Yes, even by the players, because of his decision to give us a code of conduct regarding player selection. Yet, the way forward has to come through this player selection. It pains me to see players being invited from maybe China or Scotland. I mean, history has told us that most of our players that are called from Scotland, whether they play against Brazil and score and all that, as the time goes on, they move to superior league and they fail. We can name players, and later they fizzle out. So what are we doing with them? A player is gone past the prime like Ahmed Musa, and he continues to hover around the team. It is even possible that Ahmed Musa will make next AFCON. There are things, so we need to check what happens to selection. We need to have an ethics department, a part that is saddled with selection process. We don't need to give the coach 100% right. Neither should the NFL have the 100% right. Perhaps there should be a board of selection, a committee on selection. Look, if you are above the age of 22 or 23, you cannot come from Russian league. You just can't, please. Perhaps if you are 16, 17, we may understand, except you are a goalkeeper, you can come from probably anywhere. Because being born in Africa, being a goalkeeper in Africa, it takes a longer time before you are deemed good enough to play in Europe. I know that's what Uzoho was trying to say. It's unfortunate anyway. Yes, there's merit there because not many goalkeepers, even if you are good, will easily be signed by the Europeans now. Yeah. But in the case of Sunday Uzoho, we actually have keepers who can do better than you. So whether you are playing for the white man, we do have even some in the local league that are better than you. There's this guy in Israel too that can actually do well. Okay, so let's call a spade a spade. What's wrong with the Nigerian football is that people have hijacked selection processes. People who bring the coach to the NFL hijacks the control of the coach. The middlemen stand between the coach and the team, stand between the coach and selection, stand between NFF and the coach as well. So who are these middlemen? I don't know. I don't know them, but they exist. We need to look for them. Perhaps we have to start by going to the transfer market website, then look at our players and look at their agents. Maybe we can say that 60% of the Super Eagles players are contracted to a particular agent. Then we may start checking that agent. Why is that agency alone, controlled by that agent, in charge of majority of the selections of players for Super Eagles? These are clues we might have to. But the day the NFF is ready, the government is ready, the media, sports writers, they are ready to find a solution to Super Eagles problem. I stand ready to avail myself to raise both controversial and simple matters, all for the good of the Super Eagles. Because the way we are going, our football will continue to go down. We are going to AFCON fixed to have Sunday Zoho or Maduka Okoye go. It is fixed already. Whether they go ahead to call several goalkeepers, Olorunkele Ojo, Amas, Sebastian, whatever, those players being called already know they do not stand a chance to have a fair trial with the team. They will not be given a chance to prove themselves. I am telling you this, they will not. We saw something like this under General Rowe. Injustice to players being called. When you call the striker, you play the striker as a winger. You call an attacking midfielder, you play the attacking midfielder as a right back so that the player cannot perform. Yes, we saw things like that. When you call Junior Lokosa and play him out of position so that he cannot perform. When you call a player who operates down the left wing, Onyekuru, in his form, and you play him down the right wing. No, Onyekuru, 35 games for a club, 35 times as a left winger or a striker. You play him as a right winger or as a second striker because you know what you want to achieve. Until we stop these things, we cannot move forward. We recall when Osimhen was banking in the goals in Belgium, he came to the Super Eagles camp and we were told he cannot play because he was falling in camp. Falling why? Are the players in Super Eagles camp, are they better than the players he sees in Belgian league? Are the defenders in Belgian league inferior to our defenders in camp that he will stand before them and be falling? But we understand it. Later on we began to know what really happened. It was programmed for allegedly. Now I'm not saying it was, it's alleged, an allegation I also heard, and my spirit was convinced that well, it's possible. And I thought allegedly fixed for Igalo to be the number one, whether he was going to have a good tournament or not. And it was reported that Osimhen was falling in camp and wasn't mentally fit and all that. The same Osimhen, without playing pre-seasons, we turned and signed for Napoli and for Lille, I think, in France at that time, and was banging in the goals. So how do you come to Super Eagles camp, start falling every time, such that the coach says this guy is not ready to play for a national team? Then you return to his stronger climate, the French league, in a bigger club, and you are playing immediately well. Come on, let's stop deceiving ourselves. Well, Osimhen are number one, and so we can say let the past be the past. But some of these things we need to have an ethical control of our selection processes. I love the Super Eagles. I sincerely love the Super Eagles, but things are being done wrongly. And the same things already are affecting the Super Falcons. The best days of our Super Falcons were the days we called both home base and the foreign clubs. Yes. But what's happening now? The issue of using foreign bond, automatically they are better, both in the Super Falcons and in Super Eagles. We no longer care about grassroots development. We have a foreign bond in England, a foreign bond in the US, a foreign bond in Scotland, a foreign bond in England, a foreign bond in Italy, and automatically we are cool with it. Look, let me tell you something. The fact that I play for Arsenal or Man U or Chelsea under 21 doesn't necessarily mean I'm better than the guy in one academy in Lagos. Yes. I was born in Nigeria, and Mr. B is born in England. I registered for a football academy in Nigeria. He registered for a football academy in England. That academy, take it or leave it, is a club. So I'm registered with Arsenal Academy. Automatically, I will graduate. I graduate at Arsenal Academy, and I'm giving some chances to play with the first team. It doesn't mean that I will go on to excel. Now, we notice such a player, and we think that the other guy born in Nigeria will not automatically have the chance to be at Arsenal or Fulham Academy. So let's understand our priorities. Running after the foreign born players, they are Nigerians, they are all right, and I love their contributions. But let it not become a standard for the NFF to say we are still performing. We are not developing our grassroots football at all. We are not. All we develop is foreign football. Yes, foreign bond, the foreign bond market. That's what we are after. And over a time, we discovered that these foreign bonds, they just come and fizzle out after 2-3 years. And we are left with the same homegrown players who seem to last longer. I'm not against calling the foreign born players, no. Again, we could have an ethical check over what foreign born player we call, rather than hog running and jumping on the bandwagon of every foreign born player that wishes to switch over to the Super Eagles. I am begging the government, the president, consider what I said about meeting fever, because we need to seriously declare an emergency in the background runnings of our football. Yes, it is important. We need to seriously face the agents, the middlemen, the racketeers. Let's forget the NFF and the coach. They are middlemen. We need to start facing these people. Otherwise, We will continue to have situations where a player is fixed to be number one, a player is fixed to be the winger, a player is fixed to be the defenders. That's just it. I'll leave this with you, my people. And if you think I have not spoken specifically enough, you may contact me. Are we talking again? Yes.